It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. Love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. We're gonna fill our house with happiness, but we'll smother the blues with tenderness. There's room for you.
What's that? You want to buy my show for $10 billion? I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Let me get back to you. Click. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. Welcome to another episode. Today, we're making pork. Pulled pork. Of that variety. Which is pulled. Come on. You're going to need some pork. Boneless pork butt or bone-in pork butt will work fine. I'm using about this size. Good size for a crock pot. So what you're going to want to do is get your pork out. Pat it dry with a paper towel. I did that a little bit. But, you want to make sure it's, nice and dry. Still see it glistening a little bit. So pat it dry. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a dry rub. We always do a dry rub on, whenever you're slow cooking anything, you want to do like a dry rub on it, especially pork. You don't want to throw it in wet because all that wet's just going to slide off a little bit. So what we're going to do is, I got a seasoning bowl over here. This is mostly paprika, brown sugar, a little bit of sea salt, actually a good amount of sea salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and fresh ground pepper. I'll put the ingredients at the end. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to get this all up in there. Okay, you're going to really rub this in. It's called a dry rub because you actually want to rub it in. So it's going to change the color from this pink to this orangey color, and then it's going to be a dark red once you rub it in. So I'm going to do that for a second so you guys don't have to watch me rub a piece of meat, which is weird. Alright, so it's going to start looking like this. I've got about this much dry rub left. I'm going to do one more step before I finish rubbing the pork. And this is more of a pro tip. This isn't a necessity, but I like to leave it as one big chunk. That's what most experts tell you. But what I do want to do is I want to get some of that flavor inside. So what I'm going to do is cut some holes. So this is where you take a knife and I'm just going to stab around the pork. And then once I have the stab holes in there, I'm going to rub the pork again and get some of that seasoning in the pork. So, go easy on the pork. You're not going to want to take out your rage. But, I do like to think of some things that make me angry when I do this. Whatever helps you. So here we go. I'm going to start stabbing. Why did you end Game of Thrones like that? Jon Snow deserved better. The show should have ended at the Battle of Winterfell. Ah! So yeah, that was a little much. But you get the idea. Alright, so I flipped it over and did the same thing on the other side. A little bit less aggressive this time. This side was more directed at George for not finishing the books yet. George, you've had a lot of time. Let's go. You're in quarantine now. You have literally nothing else to do. Give us something. So anyway, so now I've got the pork nice and rubbed. And another pro tip, this part is definitely not necessary, but again, if you really want to take it to Flavortopia, TM, you do this overnight. So this is actually 9 p.m. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this pork butt, I'm going to wrap it in plastic wrap, slap it in the fridge, take it out in the morning, and then we're going to start cooking it. So now we're going to go take a 12-hour break. I'm gonna go to sleep now. Bye. Time travel. Alright, now it's 8 in the morning. Here she is. She's been waiting all night, wrapped in some plastic wrap, sitting in the fridge. She's good to go now. So what we're going to do is I have a whole onion here and a couple cloves of garlic that I chopped up. We're going to put that in there. Spread it around. I like to have it more on the sides. But, you know, doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to add a couple of wet ingredients. Not too much because we're not making pulled pork soup, okay? People that just throw some pork in a crock pot and pour over a jar of barbecue sauce, that's lazy. And that will take you to Lazy Town and you'll have lazy pulled pork soup. Cool, good job. This will actually bring out the flavor of the pork by doing a dry rub and not pouring too much liquid in there. We're going to put in a little bit of liquid though, just so it's not that dry. But there's already a lot of like natural fat in the pork, so it doesn't need too much. So I'm going to put in a little bit of barbecue sauce. Use one of your favorites. I like James River. Little bit of the blood of your enemy, or ketchup. That's just to have a little bit of a tomato and vinegar base. I like to put in a little bit of molasses if you have it. That's totally optional, but not, add a little bit extra because there's already that brown sugar in there. But, it's going to give it a nice little pop. And then, I did not unscrew this top. A little bit of apple cider vinegar. Again, just to have a little bit of that vinegar and sweetness. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to mix this around a little bit so it gets dispersed evenly, but it doesn't truly matter. Some other things you can put in there for liquid is if you have a favorite soda, that works. If you have, butter would work too, but that's like if you want to die early. Same with oil. Like I said, it doesn't really need much liquid, so I'm putting in about that much because I want the pork to actually taste like the pork. So I'm going to mix this up a little bit, and then we're going to pop the lid on and cook this down for quite a few hours. We'll check back in on this later, probably near the halfway point to see progress and turn it. Otherwise, we're going to leave it alone. So stay tuned. Alright gang, it's been about 4.5 hours. This has been untouched. Let's take a look at how we're doing inside. Alright, so you guys saw how little liquid I put in there. Look how much liquid's already in there. There's a lot of liquid that's in this pork. Okay, it's already starting to fall apart. So what I want to do now is give it a flip. And we're going to put it back on. And we'll let this go a couple more hours. Alright, it's been about almost 9 hours in total. Here's what we got. I haven't shredded it other than moving my tongs around, and it's just falling apart. Also, look how much liquid's in there. You guys saw how much liquid I added. That's how much liquid is in the pork already. Okay? You don't need to add more. I would recommend when you're shredding your pork, you do it, you first put it through like a strainer or something, get some of the excess juices out of it. You don't want it dry, but most of this is fat, so if you want to drain some of that, that'd be good. And then you're good to go to serve. This is also good to freeze when you're reheating it. Add a little bit of water, and you're good. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, do whatever, and welcome to Flavortopia TM. Lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt.